Thanks for joining us. I'm Gabe with Backwoods Pursuit. Today I'm going to show you how to install Day 6 inserts. Now the Day 6 components I'm going to be using for this aero build, I've got the Centric aluminum insert outsert system here, but the same process applies no matter what Day 6 aero build you are working on. So if you've got the 100 grain or the 150 grain stainless steel Centric system, it's the same process here that we're going to use in this aero build. So it's a real easy process, a couple steps you need to take care of, but it's real quick and easy. As always, we really do appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button for us and give the video a like if it's helpful for you. Check out our website, backwoodspursuit.com, for other gear reviews. We're always putting new content over there, and on our Facebook and Instagram pages I'll put links to all that, as well as links to the Day 6 arrows in the description here for you so you can check them out for yourself. Let's get started. Alright, so to get the inserts installed here, you just need a couple of things. Of course, you need your arrow shaft. I'm going to get some rubbing alcohol or something to clean the shaft once we get it all ready and prepared. You need your insert or your insert-outsert system there. A little bit of sandpaper, the resin and the hardener, the epoxy, 24-hour epoxy. Any 24-hour epoxy works, but Day 6 does provide some, enough to do a dozen. Some Q-tips and a clean cloth, and then say a 22 caliber metal brush, something to clean the inside of the shaft to get it ready as well. So what we do here is go ahead and start with the arrow shaft, grab some sandpaper, and all we're going to do here is just about the outside, the last 3/4 of an inch or so, just pinch that and just rub it a little bit there, just enough to score the outside, just to create a little bit of abrasion there and get a better surface for the epoxy to adhere to. So once we've got that done, we're going to take our rubbing alcohol and clean off what we just sanded there. And you can see you'll get a little bit of dust there, carbon dust from the arrow, so you want to clean that off, and then take your brush there and just kind of lightly spin that, because all you're doing again is just wanting to create a better surface for the inside of that to adhere to. Then grab your Q-tip and get the Q-tip wet with that rubbing alcohol again, and go ahead and clean the inside of your arrow shaft, just like that. And you'll see you get that all good and clean, and then dry that off, and that'll be ready to get the insert in glued on there. So as far as the epoxy is concerned, while that's drying, just real quick, you'll empty all the hardener and the resin onto something like this piece of cardboard. Doesn't really matter what it is. Get a stir stick basically, and you want to stir this up until you get this kind of creamy white color, and then that will let you know that you are ready to go. Now, one other thing you can do is you can square the end of the shaft here as well. It's not going to hurt anything with these arrows, but I did speak with Brian over at Day 6, and he indicated that it's not something that's necessary with the way that this Centric system is built. You don't have to square the end, and so I'm not going to do that in this case, even though I typically do square the end before I install an insert. But on his recommendation, it's not required, so I'm not going to go ahead and end up doing that. So I'll set that aside now that the shaft is ready. I'm going to get the insert ready to go. So as you can see, one end has some threads there, some real fine threads, and the other end is going to stick out like that, because the outsert or the footer screws on over the top like that. So you can either hold on to the threaded side or hold on to this side, because we're going to be putting glue all on the inside there. So I'm going to hold on to the threaded side here, take some of this glue, and go ahead and just put some over the rest of the body here, just like that, and just up to about where the thread is, and then put more down here in the part that's going to go down into the shaft. And again, you don't need a ton here, but you don't want to get to where there's not enough to keep the insert glued in as well. So just cover it all. Don't put too much on there. Just spread that all around. And once you've got that, grab this the footer and go ahead and rotate this on over the top of that, and you want to make sure, kind of go back and forth, make sure you get that all spread out. And then once that is spread out, screw that into place, just like that. You want to make sure that's snug there, and then so you see that is left sticking out. So I'm going to grab just a little bit more and just cover the end of that with some more epoxy. Make sure we get all of those threads or those barbs there with a little bit of epoxy on there, so that it does really grab and hold on to that shaft really well. So once we've got that done, we're going to set that aside real quick and grab the arrow shaft again. And so what I'm going to do here is just cover the outside maybe 3/4 of an inch with a little bit of epoxy again. And again, not a ton, you don't need a ton on there, but just make sure that you are covering it enough to give that the outsert portion of the component system a place to bond here. So just cover that again, not a ton, but just enough there, and set that aside. So now we will grab this and put it right in there like that. And as we're doing this, I'm going to be spinning this, you'll see, just like that. And there'll be a little bit of air sometimes in there, so you'll push on that, and you'll start to see got a little bit too much even just doing what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's while I'm spinning this, I want to make sure that I'm spinning clockwise, like you're tightening down. The threads go with the threads, so you don't accidentally loosen that footer off of the insert. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Once we got that done, I'm going to grab this and take off the extra or the excess that I put too much on there. Put that back there, and then take my rag here and try to clean off the rest of this, pulling down onto the shaft, because I don't want to, of course, take that off. So once I've got that, that's basically what it looks like. So I'm going to grab my arrow spinner, and we're going to make sure that we get this spun correctly. So I'll grab that, and what we're going to do here, and this is a critical step you want to make sure that you do every time, just because these are built so that you can, using the epoxy, using the 24-hour epoxy, you can rotate this on each of the shafts to make sure you get it spinning correctly. So you can see there I've got a little bit of a wobble on the end, so what I'm going to do is rotate that just maybe 1/8 of a rotation and spin again, and that's pretty darn good. I'm going to just try a little bit more. I'm going to find that perfect rotation, and that looks like it right there. That's pretty dang perfect. So now, once I've got that done, I've cleaned all the resin off, all the extra epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and set this with a knockdown like this, and just set that aside and move on to the next one. Obviously you don't want to shoot that or do anything with it for 24 hours to make sure that that epoxy gets good and set, but that's about all there is to it. That's really all there is to installing the components or the inserts of your Day 6 arrows. Really easy process, just follow those steps and you'll be good to go. If you have any questions, definitely drop those down in the comments. We'll answer every single one of them for you. Again, I'll put a link to the Day 6 arrows in the description for you as well, so you can check them out for yourself, as well as one of these arrow spinners. So if you need to pick one of those up to get this done, you can do that as well. Thanks for watching here today. We'll see you next time.